Marcus Thorne had killed 43 wolves in 6 years searching for his family. Tonight he'd find them or die trying. The Black Hawk descended through Montana darkness at 0247 hours, rotors slicing air that tasted like snow and pine. Marcus checked his Sig Sauer P226 silver core rounds pressed ready. 8 wolves packed the helicopter's belly, each one handpicked for skills that made them more dangerous than entire platoons. Jackson Cole rode shotgun, literally a Remington 870 across his knees and enough C4 to level city blocks. The skids kissed earth 2 clicks from target. Snow swallowed sound. The team deployed in 60 seconds, weapons hot night, vision painting the world in shades that made death look clinical. Marcus took point because leaders were the first ones bullets found, and he'd never asked his wolves to do what he wouldn't. They moved through lodgepole forest like smoke given purpose. The Silver Moon compound materialized chain-link fence guard towers, floodlights carving killing fields from shadow. Amateur security. Marcus had trained against Spetsnaz in Siberian winter. These bureaucrats playing soldier would learn the difference between reading tactical manuals and living them. Perimeter guard died without knowing he'd been targeted. Jackson's blade. The body settled into snow that would hide it until spring thaw. They reached the fence bolt cutters, making short work of links that should have been hardened steel. Budget cuts probably. Some accountant's cost-saving measure had just opened the door to retribution. Marcus signaled. 4 wolves with him for frontal assault, 4 with Jackson for roof insertion. Simple plans survive contact with reality better than complex ones. The breaching charges went live. His thumb hovered over the detonator, 1 breath, 2. His wolf settled into the predatory calm that made him lethal. He pressed the button. Fire and thunder erased the door. Marcus was moving before debris stopped falling, flashbangs strobing light that turned defenders blind. His first shot caught a guard center mass silver punching through Kevlar, inadequate for supernatural warfare. The man spun, dropped. Marcus was already tracking the next target. A wolf came at him mid-shift, caught between forms. Marcus's second shot found its heart. Hybrid transformations were supposed to be faster, stronger. But speed meant nothing against precision, and Marcus had been putting silver in werewolf hearts since before most of these pups were born. The interior was warehouse-turned-barracks corridors leading deeper. Marcus advanced along walls using shadows the floodlights created. Behind him, his team flowed through the breach with practiced efficiency. He trusted them like gravity. Movement right. A fully shifted wolf black fur, snapping jaws launched from a side room. Marcus dropped, let momentum carry the creature over him, came up with his knife. Silver Edge found the space between ribs where heart muscle pumped. The wolf's momentum became liability, driving the blade deeper. Marcus twisted, withdrew, moved on while the body processed death. The corridor branched, left to administration. Right led down. Down was always where ugly secrets lived. Concrete stairs descended into air that smelled like mildew and old fear. Temperature dropped with each step. At the bottom, a steel door stood locked. Shape charges turned locks into suggestions. The explosion was surgical, contained, turning security into shrapnel. Marcus entered hell disguised as basement. Cells lined both sides, iron bars and silver-plated locks. The quiet was worse than screaming, the kind of silence that meant either everyone was dead or everyone had learned screaming changed nothing. The air tasted like wolfsbane and desperation, copper tang of old blood, mixing with industrial disinfectant that couldn't mask decay. He moved methodically, checking cells. Some empty straw pallets testifying to recent occupation. Others held bodies too still to be sleeping, curled in corners where they'd given up fighting cold. Marcus marked each mentally coordinates for extraction teams. Cell 7B stopped his heart. The woman inside was barely recognizable. Dark hair gone gray in patches. Silver cups torn grooves in the wrist deep enough to expose bone. Breathing shallow, irregular body trying to decide if survival was worth the effort. But Marcus knew that face. Had kissed it on an Oregon beach 6 years, 8 months, 13 days ago. Had promised forever witness by 300 pack members who'd believed promises were guarantees. Sarah. The world compressed to heartbeats. 6 years of searching, every lead chased and lost, every cold trail ending in cemeteries where they'd buried wolves who hadn't survived whatever this place was doing. He'd started believing she was dead. His Delta Force training had filed her under KIA and moved forward because dwelling on corpses got living people killed. But she was here, breathing, alive. Cell 7C held something worse. The boy couldn't have been more than 7 ribs visible through skin gone pale as cheap paper. Face turned toward walls, arms wrapped around knees, in posture that spoke trauma so deep it had become default setting. Silver bands circled ankles too tight, biting into flesh that wept clear fluid. Kyle, his son, the child he'd held once before deployment orders had shipped him back to desert for tours that had stretched into years. The boy who'd taken first steps in videos Sarah had sent to forward operating bases. The boy stolen 14 months after his mother disappeared, taken by enemies about to learn what happened when you weaponized Marcus Thorne's family against him. Something in Marcus's chest cracked. Not his hearts broke clean. This was his soul fracturing along fault lines he'd pretended didn't exist. He'd killed 43 wolves looking for them. He'd tortured information from sources who died knowing their revelations would doom allies. He'd crossed lines his Delta commanders would have court-martialed him for, and done it while maintaining the fiction that he was hunting principle, not personal vengeance. Fuck principle. The lock on Sarah's cell disintegrated under his boot. He was inside before rational thought could suggest restraint. She was lighter than memory suggested, fragile in ways that made his wolf howl rage against ribs. Her eyes opened gray like he remembered, but clouded with pharmaceutical haze. They drugged her, kept her compliant. He'd kill him slowly for that. Kyle's cell came next. The boy didn't wake when Marcus lifted him, just made wounded animal sounds and tried to curl smaller. Marcus held him anyway, feeling vertebrae through skin, counting ribs that shouldn't be countable. Jackson appeared at corridor entrance, shotgun smoking blood on his vest that probably wasn't his. He took one look at Marcus holding the boy as the woman draped over Marcus's other shoulder, and his face did something complicated. The words came simple because anything else would have broken something neither could afford broken. You found them, Marcus nodded once started moving. Behind them, the team herded 47 prisoners toward exit wolves in various states of broken, disappeared from packs across 3 states. The extraction would be logistics nightmare, requiring helicopters and safe houses and medical personnel who understood some injuries couldn't be treated in civilian hospitals. But that was future Marcus's problem. Present Marcus had family in his arms and a building that needed burning. The helicopter was waiting. Marcus loaded Sarah and Kyle into seats designed for armed soldiers, not broken civilians. The medic started work immediately. IV lines, oxygen masks, murmured assessments. Marcus couldn't hear over turbine whine. The compound exploded at 0343 hours fireball painting. Low clouds, orange shockwaves rolling across valleys. 50 wolves inside. 7 of his team got out. The math was brutal, the kind of calculation that made peacetime civilians queasy, but combat veterans understood was just Thursday. They flew south. Marcus watched his family breathe, Sarah's chest rising and falling with mechanical regularity, Kyle's smaller, faster like birds. The medic had sedated them both. External indicators said Marcus was fine, operational, ready for next phase. Inside, where indicators couldn't measure something, was burning that no amount of water would ever extinguish. The medical facility blazed with light against pre-dawn gray. Buttermere waited, silver hair pulled tight, green eyes, cataloging injuries before Marcus touched ground. 40 years as pack healer meant she'd seen everything werewolf physiology could survive, and plenty it couldn't. She took Sarah first, wheeling the gurney through doors Marcus wasn't allowed past. Protocol. Healers worked better without family hovering. Marcus understood protocol, had written protocols during Delta years. But protocol was thin comfort when his mate was behind walls he couldn't breach. Kyle came next. The boy was awake now, eyes open but not seeing, staring at nothing with 1,000-yard look Marcus recognized from young soldiers who'd seen too much too fast. Jackson stayed in the waiting room because leaving brothers alone with thoughts was how you lost brothers. They sat in chairs designed by sadists who'd never had to wait for news that could end in funerals. Plastic upholstery, fluorescent lights humming with electrical ghosts, coffee tasting like the pot hadn't been cleaned since Nixon. Marcus drank it anyway because his hands needed occupation other than breaking things. Mira emerged at sunup scrub, spattered with blood, dried brown face showing exhaustion from hours spent fighting battles most people didn't know existed. She sat, pulled off her mask, took time finding words. When they came, they were delivered with clinical precision of someone who'd learned emotion interfered with information. Your wife has extensive silver poisoning. Chronic exposure multiple years. The cuffs cause permanent nerve damage. She'll never have full sensation in her hands. Burns suggests repeated wolfsbane application, probably during interrogation. Her wolf is chemically suppressed. I found traces of a compound I don't recognize. Military grade from molecular structure. Something designed specifically to target lycanthrope neurology. Marcus's jaw tightened. Hands stayed steady around the coffee cup. Internal discipline was the only thing between him and Rampage that would end in exile or execution. Her memory is compromised. The drug targets, memory formation, and retention. She doesn't remember you. Doesn't remember Kyle. Her mind is intact, but connections to her past are severed. I've seen magical memory charms do similar damage, but this is chemical. Someone synthesized a drug that can erase werewolf pack bonds. Can you reverse it? Mira's hesitation was answered no. I don't know. Without knowing the compound's formulation, I'm working blind. I can treat symptoms, help her build new neural pathways, but whether that's recovery or just building a different person, I can't promise. And Kyle, the healer's hand shook. He's 7, should weigh 60 pounds, weighs 38. Malnutrition stunted his growth. He'll probably never reach full height potential. Silver exposure suppressed his wolf during critical development years. Best case delayed first shift at 15 or 16 instead of 12. Worst case, his wolf is permanently damaged, unable to fully manifest. She paused, took breath, continued. Psychologically selective mutism. He can speak vocal cords undamaged, but he's chosen not to. Trauma response. He watched things no child should see. His mind is protecting itself the only way it knows. Marcus stood because sitting still was no longer sustainable. His voice came flat, empty of inflection, because emotion would have turned words into roars. Do whatever needs doing. Cost isn't a factor. Bring in specialists if necessary. I want him whole. Whole might not be possible. Functional, recovered, capable of happiness, those I can work toward. But the boy who was taken isn't the boy we're treating. He'll heal, but he'll be different. Marcus left before she could see what his face was doing. The command center was empty at 0800 hours. He made it 3 steps inside before his fist hit stone. His knuckles split. Blood welled up. He hit the wall again because once wasn't enough. Again because twice wasn't sufficient. Jackson caught his arm before the 4th blow. Didn't speak. Didn't need to. Marcus pulled free. His hand throbbed, bones intact, but bruised split skin, already knitting with werewolf healing that would erase evidence within hours. The phone was old school, hardline, the kind that couldn't be intercepted without physical wire access. Marcus dialed from memory, waited through 4 rings. Beta Cole, I need you at the castle. Bring active rotation, full combat loadout. Cole didn't ask questions. The line went dead. Marcus stared at maps covering walls, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon territories, marked in colors, denoting pack affiliations. Somewhere in that patchwork was infrastructure that had held his family for 6 years. Someone had ordered it. Someone had funded it. Someone had provided resources, drugs, personnel security necessary to keep 2 wolves imprisoned without anyone noticing. That kind of operation required money, influence, connections running deep into places wolves rarely penetrated. Military, probably. Government. Someone with access to classified research and black budgets and moral flexibility that let them torture children in the name of national security. The door opened. Beta Cole entered first 6'3" of scarred muscle and tactical awareness, followed by 9 wolves who dropped everything to answer their alpha summons. They ranged the room, found positions, waited with predator patience. Marcus faced them, didn't waste time with preamble. 6 years ago, my mate was taken. 14 months later, my son followed. Intelligence suggested they were dead. Intelligence was wrong. Last night, we extracted them from a Silver Moon facility. They're alive but damaged. Sarah doesn't remember me. Kyle hasn't spoken. Both show evidence of systematic torture and medical experimentation. Someone used my family to test weapons-grade drugs designed to break werewolf bonds. Silence. Then murmurs barely contained excitement from good news breaking through months of bad. Marcus let it run 5 seconds, raised his hand. Quiet returned. Someone treated them like subjects rather than people. I want to know who ordered it. I want locations, names, organizational charts, funding sources. Every person involved, from guards who locked cells to whoever signed authorization. And when we have that information, we're going to extract a price. His voice didn't rise. The temperature dropped anyway, every wolf feeling their alpha's rage like pressure against skin. Beta Matthew spoke up, younger than others. Are we talking sanctioned operations or blackback? Marcus's smile had nothing to do with humor. I'm talking about war, sanctioned by me. The only authorization I need is the one my wolf gives when I think about what they did to my son. Jackson played devil's advocate because Jackson always did. It was why Marcus kept him close. What about the council? They'll demand oversight, proper channels, federal agencies. Fuck the council. Fuck oversight. Fuck federal agencies that probably enabled this. The words hung in air that tasted like cordite and promises. Some wolves shifted weight uncomfortable with open defiance. Others grinned, relieved someone had finally said it. Marcus continued. Here's what we know. Silver Moon held 47 wolves, all disappeared over the last decade. The facility was too sophisticated for pack operations, military-grade security pharmaceutical equipment, personnel with training that doesn't come from pack traditions. Someone with resources funded this. Someone with classified research access provided drugs. Someone in authority decided my family was acceptable collateral damage. He pulled a folder from the desk, tossed it onto the table. Satellite imagery spilled out. We burned the facility, destroyed most evidence. But intelligence teams are going through remains. I want reports within 24 hours. I want interrogations on every survivor coherent enough to answer questions. I want phone records, financial transactions, anything pointing toward who's pulling strings. Beta Cole's practicality made him valuable. What do you need from us? Everything. Intelligence gatherers pulling information from every source. Combat teams ready to deploy within 12 hours. Logistics support for sustained operations. Safe houses supply caches. Extraction routes. Legal counsel preparing defenses for when the council tries to strip my alpha status. Most of all, wolves willing to cross lines that can't be uncrossed. He met each wolf's eyes in turn, giving them the chance to back out. No one moved. Cole's voice was steady. You have us, Alpha. Whatever you need, however long it takes. The others echoed agreement. Marcus acknowledged each with a nod. Then get to work. Dismissed. They filed out, already pulling phones, making calls. Jackson lingered because Jackson always lingered. When the door closed, his words came quiet. You sure about this? Once you start, there's no exit. Council will move against you. Federal agencies will classify you as threat. Other packs will distance themselves. You'll be alone. I've been alone for 6 years. At least now I have a target. Jackson's expressions suggested he wanted to argue, found no logical foothold, settled for grim acceptance. For what it's worth, I think you're right. Someone needs to burn for this. Just make sure it's them burning and not you. Marcus had no illusions about who'd burn. Fire didn't discriminate, but if he could ensure his family's safety first, his own immolation was a price he'd pay without hesitation. Sarah woke at 1900 hours. Mira called with news voice, carefully neutral warning that memory loss meant reunion would be complicated. Marcus went because 6 years of empty beds had left deficit that couldn't wait for ideal circumstances. She was in private quarters. Mira had set up space balancing medical necessity with dignity. No restraints, no bars, just a bed, a window showing forest furniture that didn't scream hospital. Sarah sat propped against pillows, a green line running to her arm, eyes tracking movement with wariness of someone who learned not to trust anything. Marcus stopped in the doorway, suddenly uncertain. He'd killed men with bare hands, had made decisions shaping pack politics across states, had survived conflicts, turning soldiers into statistics. But facing his wife, his mate, the woman who'd promised forever, he felt 15 again, clumsy and terrified of saying the wrong thing. Her voice was raspy from disuse. Who is he? Mira's response was gentle, acknowledging pain without offering false comfort. This is Marcus Thorne, your husband, the Alpha of Northwood Pack. Sarah's expression didn't change. No recognition, no flash of memory breaking through chemical barriers. Just neutral assessment, the look someone gave strangers who might be threats. I don't remember him. I know. But he's the one who found you, who brought you home. Home. The word landed, wrong concept without context. Marcus watched her process it, saw confusion from hearing about a life she couldn't recall. He forced himself forward, movement slow, non-threatening, telegraphing intent. When he reached the chair beside her bed, he sat with careful deliberation, keeping distance. His voice was steady when he found words. My name is Marcus. You're Sarah. We've been married 8 years. We have a son named Kyle. He's 7. You were taken 6 years ago. Kyle was taken 14 months later. Last night I found you both in a facility run by people who are going to answer for what they did. She listened, absorbed, showed no emotion beyond baseline wariness from waking surrounded by strangers making claims about a past she couldn't verify. The doctor says I had a life before, that I was someone, but I don't remember any of it. She says memories might come back, might not. Says I should be patient. Marcus's hands clenched. Not at her, at the people who'd reduced his mate to someone who needed patience to remember her own existence. Take all the time you need, no pressure, no expectations, but know that you're safe here. Whatever you need, whatever helps you heal, it's yours. Sarah's eyes met his, searching for deception, finding only exhaustion and barely controlled fury not aimed at her. The boy, Kyle. Can I see him? He's in the next room, hasn't woken yet. When he's ready, you can meet him. Meet, the word twisted something in Marcus's chest. Mother and son reduced to strangers needing introductions. Eventually, exhaustion claimed her. She drifted back to sleep, mid-sentence drugs and injury combining to pull her under. Marcus stayed because leaving felt like abandonment. Mira found him at midnight, still sitting vigil. Her hand on his shoulder was warm grounding. She'll need time. So will Kyle. So will you. I've waited 6 years. I can wait longer. Kyle's room was down the hall. Marcus checked on him nightly. Tonight the boy was real again. Small, fragile, breathing with irregular rhythm of someone whose nervous system was still processing trauma. Marcus entered, moved to bedside, let his hand hover before finally making contact. The skin was warm, fever hot from body-fighting infections Mira was treating. Kyle's face was thinner than memory suggested, cheekbones too prominent. 7 years old, should have been running through forest learning to hunt, discovering strength from being werewolf. Instead, he'd spent critical development years in cells watching his mother suffer, learning the world was cruel and safety was a lie. Marcus had failed him, and Alpha's primary duty was protection. He'd been protecting strangers while missing danger in his own house. Someone would pay for that mistake. Many someones. The night passed in planning. By dawn, Marcus had intelligence from 12 sources suggesting Silver Moon was one node in larger network. References to Project Fenrir appeared in intercepted communications. Financial records showed transfers from shell corporations tracing back to defense contractors. Personnel files listed security clearances requiring federal sponsorship. The picture emerging was uglier than anticipated. Not rogue pack conducting unauthorized experiments. Not criminal organization trafficking wolves for profit. This was infrastructure, a program, something with official sanction buried in classification layers designed to keep congressional oversight at bay. Someone in the Pentagon knew, probably multiple someones, generals with stars and hands clean enough to pass security reviews. They'd built an operation to weaponize werewolves, and when they'd needed subjects, they'd taken whoever was convenient, including an Alpha's mate and child. The interrogation wing was deep beneath the castle rooms carved from bedrock during an era when pack justice involved methods modern sensibilities found distasteful. Elena Ashford sat cuffed to a chair bolted to concrete, silver restraints tight enough to burn. She looked up when Marcus entered, face showing calculated contrition. She was beautiful the way poisonous flowers were objectively striking, subjectively lethal. Marcus closed the door, didn't sit, didn't speak. Just stared, letting silence build pressure. She broke after 40 seconds. I know you're late, I understand, but I'm here because I couldn't live with myself anymore. What they did was wrong. I need to make it right. Marcus's voice was flat when he responded. Who's they? The people who took Sarah, who took Kyle, the ones running operations across the Northwest, kidnapping wolves, using them for experiments. That's not an answer, that's a description. I asked who. Elena took breath, met his eyes, delivered information with rehearsed quality. General Victor Kane, retired Army, current CEO of Ironwood Security Solutions. He's been running Project Fenrir for 8 years, funded through black budgets. I know because he recruited me 6 years ago, offered me money power if I help facilitate access to Northwood territory. The confession hung in air that tasted like metal and old violence. Marcus processed it, cross-referencing against intelligence, finding alignment. Keep talking. Cain wanted test subjects, specifically wolves with strong bloodlines. Sarah was ideal Luna bloodline going back 8 generations. When I told him about her, he authorized the operation. Why would you do that? Elena's facade cracked, revealing something ugly beneath beauty. Because I wanted what she had. The title. The respect. Marcus, I've been in love with you since I joined this pack. I thought if Sarah was gone, eventually you'd see me. Marcus's expression didn't change. Inside, disgust fought tactical assessment. So you arranged for Cain's people to take her. I told them her routines. When she'd be vulnerable. How to circumvent security. Marcus moved, 1 second across the room. Next, his hand was on her throat, not squeezing, just present reminder of how fragile bones became under pressure. His voice stayed level. Don't lie. You knew what would happen, knew they'd torture her, knew she'd suffer. You did it anyway because you wanted a title and a man who never looked at you twice. He released her, stepped back. Why Kyle tears now real or performed? That wasn't supposed to happen. Cain wanted baseline study, adult versus juvenile development. He saw Kyle as opportunity. I tried to refuse, but he had leverage. Knew I'd helped with Sarah. Threatened to expose me if I didn't cooperate. So you gave him my son. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't undo 6 years. Sorry is what cowards say when they're caught. Where is Cain now? I don't know his current location. He moves constantly. But I know where his operations center. Seattle. Ironwood Security Solutions maintains office building, downtown 20th floor. That's where he runs everything from. What else? He has research facility in Nevada. Underground disguised as Cold War bunker. That's where us serious experiments happen, where they synthesize drugs they used on Sarah. Location somewhere near Nellis Air Force Base. I don't have exact coordinates. How many people involved? Hundreds. Security scientists, administrative staff. Cain runs it like military operation. Chain of command, compartmentalization. And you, what was your piece? Recruitment. I identified potential subjects from various packs, made lists, forwarded them to Cain's people. In 6 years, I helped them take 47 wolves. The number matched Montana. Marcus's jaw clenched. Why turn yourself in now? Because I saw the news. Saw you'd raided Montana. Realized Cain's going to know I was the leak. He'll send people to silence me. Prison is better than whatever he's got planned. Self-preservation masquerading as conscience. Marcus understood that motivation. You'll stay in this cell until I decide what to do with you. If you've told truth, you might live. If you've lied, what comes next will make Cain's methods look merciful. Elena nodded, defeated. Marcus left. The door locked behind him with mechanical finality. The safe house sat in Seattle suburb where lawns stayed trim and neighbors minded business. Ranch-style beige siding blending into architectural monotony. Marcus watched from 3 houses down thermal imaging, confirming 8 heat signatures. 6 clustered in converted garage. 2 patrolling interior. Professional spacing. Disciplined rotation. Military training, not civilian security courses. Jackson crouched beside him, checking the suppressed MP5. Behind them, 4 wolves waited in panel van painted to match generic courier services. They'd be gone before anyone thought to check databases. Midnight had passed. Optimal timing set at 0230 hours when human circadian rhythms bottomed out. Reaction time slowed, attention wavered. Marcus had learned that in Ramadi breaching insurgent safe houses while targets slept off exhaustion. Same principles, different enemy, same biology. 3 minutes. The captives were the complication. Elena's intel suggested 5 werewolves held inside pending transport to Nevada. Collateral damage would defeat the purpose. This needed precision, eliminate hostiles, extract prisoners, burn evidence, movement inside. 1 patrol stopped near window silhouette visible through curtains. Marcus memorized position, calculating arm angles. When assault began, that guard needed to die first. His phone buzzed. Beta Cole confirming escape routes, secured civilians evacuated using gas leak story. Everything ready, everyone positioned. Marcus raised his hand, 3 fingers, 2, 1. He moved. The back door disintegrated under breaching charge. Marcus was through before sound finished, echoing MP5 rising. The guard in the hallway opened his mouth, maybe to shout, maybe surrender, but Marcus's trigger finger made the decision. 3 rounds suppressed center mass. The body folded. Jackson came behind him, peeling right toward garage conversion. The MP5 coughed twice. Screams started, died fast. Marcus cleared rooms methodically. Living room empty, bathroom empty. First bedroom held 2 guards sleeping in shifts. They died without waking pillows muffling already quiet shots. The master bedroom held 5 wolves, silver-collared, chained to radiator pipes. They stared at Marcus with eyes that had seen too much horror to process rescue quickly. Feral, dangerous, even cuffed, Marcus holstered the MP5, held up empty hands, spoke quietly, letting Alpha presence fill space without threatening. "You're safe now. We're here to take you home. Stay calm." One wolf female, maybe 32, thin, lunged anyway. The chain snapped her back, teeth, bared eyes showing nothing human. Jackson appeared with bolt cutters. He moved slowly, telegraphing every motion. First collar came off with metal snap, then second, third, fourth, fifth. The wolves didn't run, didn't attack, just stood processing freedom like forgotten concept. Marcus's voice stayed even. "Van outside, medical personnel waiting. You're going to Northwood territory. No chains, no experiments, just recovery. But we need to leave now." They moved like sleepwalkers, following because alternative was staying. Marcus led them out through back, avoiding bodies Jackson had left in garage. The van accepted its cargo. Doors closed, engine started. Beta Cole drove away at exactly speed limit, nothing to attract attention from police cruiser passing opposite direction. Marcus and Jackson stayed behind. Someone needed to sanitize the scene. The incendiaries were small, thermite-based, designed to burn hot enough to destroy DNA while leaving damage that looked accidental. Electrical fire probably. Faulty wiring. They set charges in 3 locations. Timers synchronized for 7 minutes. 2 blocks away, when the house ignited, fireball punching through the roof. By the time fire trucks arrived, safe house would be unsalvageable. By the time investigators sifted debris, werewolf evidence would be ash. 1 down. 14 to go. The laboratory occupied 3rd floor of Portland office building, advertising pharmaceutical research. Legitimate on paper, properly licensed, inspected annually by regulators who saw clean rooms and documentation checking every box. They didn't see the sublevel, didn't know about elevator descending past parking garage into space it carved from bedrock. Marcus entered through loading dock at 1600 hours, wearing courier uniform, pushing dollies stacked with boxes. Security guard barely looked up, just waved him toward elevator. The elevator required key card. Marcus used one taken from Seattle safe house. The card worked. The elevator descended. Sublevel 1 opened on corridor that belonged in hospital. White tile, fluorescent lighting, disinfectant smell failing to mask something organic and wrong. No guards visible. Security here relied on secrecy rather than force. Marcus moved quickly, checking rooms. Most empty equipment powered down. But voices echoed from the end, 2 people arguing about dosage calculations and test subject viability. He approached. "Listen, the drug isn't stable. We're seeing adverse reactions in 60% seizures, hemorrhaging, neurological collapse. We need to halt trials." The response came harder, colder. "General Kane wants results by month's end. Either make it work or I'll find someone who can. Your humanitarian concerns are noted and dismissed." Marcus pushed open the door. Both men turned. The first, older 50s, wire-rimmed glasses lab coat, processed intrusion with academic curiosity. The second, younger 30s, expensive suit, went for desk phone. Marcus closed distance before fingers touched plastic. His hand wrapped around the manager's throat, applying pressure that cut blood flow. Unconsciousness came in 8 seconds. The body slumped. The scientist backed against wall with hands raised. "I don't want trouble. Take whatever you want. Just don't hurt me." Marcus's voice was flat. "Your name, Dr. Samuel Cross. I'm a pharmacologist. Hired 3 years ago to develop memory suppression for PTSD treatment. I didn't know they told me it was for helping trauma victims. Veterans." Marcus stepped closer. Cross flinched but held ground. "You developed the drug they used on my wife. The compound that erased 6 years of her life." Cross's face did something complicated. Guilt, horror, recognition that his work had caused suffering he'd never witnessed. I didn't know what they'd use it for. You have to believe me. Actions matter. You created a weapon. People suffered. Now you're going to fix it. I can't. The effects are partially permanent. Neural pathways that dissolve don't regenerate. I can stop progression, maybe restore some function, but complete recovery, then give me partial. Give me anything that lets her remember her son's face. Cross's resistance crumbled. I have the antidote. Well treatment protocol, it requires 48 hours controlled administration. Could restore 30, maybe 40% of affected memories. Where is it here? In the lab. Cross moved to the secured cabinet, entered combination, withdrew 3 vials filled with amber liquid. His hands shook, offering them. This is everything. The synthesis is complex. I'm the only one who knows complete formula. If you take this, Kane's program loses ability to create compliant subjects. Without memory suppression, rescued wolves will remember everything. Will testify. Marcus took the vials carefully. You're coming with me. Cross blinked. What? Number Kane has my family, my wife, 2 kids. If I disappear, he'll kill them, whether you cooperate or not. That's how people like Kane operate. But where are they? Tacoma. Suburban house. 3 guards watching around the clock. Marcus pulled out phone. Texted Jackson address plus 3 words. Extract them now. Response came back in seconds. On it. Marcus met Cross's eyes. Your family will be safe by midnight. You have my word. In exchange, you're treating my wife, my son, every wolf you're drug damaged. You're undoing what Kane made you create. When this is over, you're testifying about everything you know. Cross nodded. Decision made. Old life ending in this moment. They left through loading dock. The manager was still unconscious in lab. By the time he woke, building would be empty, and Marcus's team would be planting evidence pointing toward corporate espionage. The van was waiting. Dr. Cross climbed in, clutching vials like salvation. Maybe they were. The waterfront warehouse advertised corporate events, private parties, team-building exercises. Websites showed smiling people in business, casual holding wine glasses. Tonight's reality was different. Marcus watched from adjacent buildings with roof night vision, turning warehouse interior green tinted. 43 people had entered, suited men and women, international mix. Buyers, representatives from organizations treating human rights as suggestions. They'd come to purchase wolves. Demonstration scheduled for 2100 hours. Kane was accelerating timeline, despite Montana's destruction, trying to recoup losses. He'd picked wrong timeline. Marcus's team spread across 3 positions. Jackson on adjacent roof with rifle and silver ammunition. Beta Cole inside posing as catering staff. 4 wolves in parking lot ready to cut off retreat. Kane wasn't present. Too smart. But his lieutenant was woman named Graves, appearing in enough intercepted communications to qualify as high-value target. Demonstration began with theatrical precision. Lights dimmed, cage wheeled onto center floor bars thick enough to contain animals larger than the wolf inside. Creature fully shifted gray fur, matted with old blood eyes, showing flat affect from trauma-induced association. Graves spoke to crowd, voice amplified. Gentlemen and ladies, what you're witnessing represents future of asymmetric warfare. Traditional soldiers require training benefits, retirement. They develop PTSD and moral qualms. Werewolves properly conditioned have none of these limitations. She gestured. Guard open cage. Wolf inside didn't move until Graves pressed button on remote. Then it exploded from cage with speed, making closest spectators recoil. Hit training dummy with force to decapitate, following through with strikes, reducing dummy to components. Crowd murmured appreciation. Graves smiled. Complete obedience. No hesitation. Unlike human soldiers, they heal from fatal wounds. Return to combat in hours instead of weeks. She rattled off statistics. Kill efficiency. Cost-benefit analysis, reducing lives to line items. Buyers were calculating how many wolves they'd need. Marcus had seen enough. He triggered charges. Beta Cole had planted small explosives as structural weak points. Not enough to collapse building, too many civilians, but sufficient for chaos. Lights died. Emergency systems kicked in, bathing everything in red. Alarms howled. The wolf in cage, freed by explosion shockwave, went berserk. Hit nearest guard, tearing through body armor. Screaming started. Panic rippled. Buyers ran for exits Jackson's team had sealed. Marcus descended through skylight, rappelling fast. Hit warehouse floor in full combat gear, no longer pretending to be anything except predator who'd found natural hunting ground. Graves saw him. Recognition flashed. She reached for weapon, but Marcus was faster, closing distance, driving shoulder into her sternum. Ribs cracked. She went down hard, guns skittering across concrete. He needed her alive. Needed information. The wolf from cage had other ideas. Creature hit Marcus from side momentum, knocking him away. Jaws snapped at throat. Claws raked Kevlar, stopping penetration but not impact. Marcus rolled, using wolf's momentum against it, throwing creature into support pillar. It recovered faster than physics allowed. Charged again. This time Marcus shifted partial transformation, meeting wolf with wolf. They collided in tangle of fur and fury, each trying for killing bite. But Marcus had been fighting his whole life. Combat from Delta instructors who taught efficiency over honor. He feinted left, went right, got jaws around other wolf's neck, bit down until vertebrae separated. Creature went limp. Marcus released it, shifted back, breathed hard through adrenaline crash. Graves was gone. Used fight as cover to escape, crawling toward service exit. Marcus pursued, but crowd was between them. Panicked buyers stampeding toward exits. By the time he fought through, Graves had vanished into Seattle's night. Cole's voice crackled through earpiece. Parking lot reports multiple vehicles fleeing. No sign of Graves. Pursue negative. Let them run. The warehouse burned behind them, conventional arson this time. Investigators would find bodies, piece together something ugly happened. But without Graves to testify, without documentation linking to Kane, it would be classified as gang violence filed under unsolved forgotten. Still, 20 buyers would report back that product wasn't as advertised. That seller couldn't guarantee security. Kane's reputation would take hits. His business model couldn't survive. Progress measured in burning buildings and corpses. Not victory making peace, but victory making future conflict inevitable. Exactly what Marcus wanted. Drive back to Northwood took 3 hours. Marcus drove because letting someone else drive meant surrendering control. Jackson rode shotgun cleaning weapons, turning combat tools back into safe objects through ritual serving psychological as much as practical purpose. Neither spoke. Words felt unnecessary. Castle appeared at dawn. Home. Sanctuary. Place Marcus had built to be safe, which had failed at that singular purpose. Sarah was waiting in his quarters. Mira had cleared her for limited mobility, suggested familiar environments might trigger memory recovery. Marcus's quarters were most familiar place remaining from her past, even if she couldn't recall why furniture arrangement felt right. She looked up when he entered, taking in blood on clothes. Exhaustion and movement. Her voice was careful. You've been killing people. Yes. Does it help? Marcus paused at threshold, considering honesty versus comfort, choosing honesty. No, but it's necessary. People who hurt you, who hurt Kyle, they're still operating, still taking wolves, still destroying families. Stopping them requires methods courts don't allow. Sarah processed that. Dr. Cross came by earlier, said you rescued him, said he's going to try restoring my memories. He seemed terrified of you. He should be. I gave him choice: help us or watch his family die. Most people find that motivating. That's monstrous, probably. But his family's alive. He's helping undo damage his research caused, and Kane's operation is hemorrhaging resources. Sometimes monstrous is what's required. Sarah stood crossed to where Marcus remained in doorway. She was smaller than he remembered. Up close, she smelled like medicinal soap, underneath which was scent his wolf recognized, even if conscious memory couldn't. She reached out, touched his chest where blood had dried brown. I don't remember loving you, don't remember our life together. But I see what you're doing, destroying yourself to save people you claim are family, even though I'm stranger wearing your wife's face. That's either devotion or insanity. Can it be both? She almost smiled. Almost. Kyle asked about you today. First words he's spoken since rescue. Wanted to know if his father was good man or bad man. Mira didn't know how to answer. What did you tell him that good and bad are words for children? that adults exist in spaces between doing ugly things for reasons they believe justify ugliness, that he'd have to decide for himself when he's old enough to understand nuance. Marcus's throat tightened. That's a good answer. I don't know if I was always this cynical or if losing 6 years taught me optimism is luxury. Dr. Cross says memories might come back in fragments, that I'll remember emotions before events, feel love before I remember why. And if memories don't come back, then I'll have to decide if I want to build life with stranger who killed people to rescue me or walk away from obligations I can't recall making. Honesty was brutal, clean, entirely reasonable. Marcus had no counter, no promises making this easier. He nodded once, stepped past her to bathroom, where he could wash away physical evidence though moral stains were permanent. Water ran red, then pink, then clear. Marcus watched its circle drain, thinking about 23 people who'd died tonight, wondering if any had families who'd mourn, deciding it didn't matter because they'd chosen to work for Kane, and choice meant responsibility. Dr. Cross's treatment would begin tomorrow. He'd synthesized enough antidote to treat Sarah and Kyle both along with 12 other wolves showing memory suppression signs. 48 hours controlled administration. Then they'd know if recovery was possible or if damage was irreversible. Marcus had 14 more targets, 14 locations where Kane's infrastructure continued operating. Seattle office building remained biggest, 200 employees, multiple floors, civilian traffic making sanctioned assault impossible, which was why Marcus wasn't planning sanctioned assault. Command center maps showed red pins marking active sites, black pins marking eliminated sites. Ratio was improving but not fast enough. Jackson entered with coffee, smelling burned, tasting worse. They drank anyway. Kane's response came at 0900 hours via encrypted email. Marcus Thorne, you've destroyed 4 facilities, killed 63 personnel, stolen research worth millions. I acknowledge your skill. However, continued aggression will result in consequences you cannot anticipate. I propose meeting to discuss terms. You want vengeance. I want operations to continue. Surely we can find middle ground. Reply within 24 hours, or I demonstrate what happens when people damage my property. Marcus read it twice, deleted it. His response was equally brief. No terms, no middle ground. You took my family. I'm taking everything you built. When I'm finished, your name will be forgotten and your empire will be ash. See you soon. Cole's expression showed concern, hitting send. You just declared war. We've been at war. Now Kane knows it. He's going to escalate. Hit us where we're vulnerable. Let him try. We're not running, not hiding. We're finishing what he started. The serum burned, going in amber liquid, turning Sarah's veins into visible tracks beneath skin gone translucent. Dr. Cross monitored vitals with hands that had stopped shaking around hour 36. The treatment demanded precision too much, and brain hemorrhage too little, and neural pathways stayed severed. Marcus watched from observation window, unable to help. Sarah's body convulsed against restraints installed not to imprison, but protect. Her screams had stopped after first 12 hours, replaced by whimpers that somehow cut deeper. Kyle's treatment had gone easier. Younger brains adapted faster. He'd woken 4 hours ago, looked at Marcus with recognition that had been absent, said one word that nearly broke the Alpha's composure. Daddy, not father, not sir. Daddy. The word a 7-year-old used before the world taught him vulnerability was weakness. Kyle had fallen back asleep, holding Marcus's hand gripped tight enough to leave marks. Now Sarah fought her own battle. 48-hour window was closing. Either memories returned or stayed buried, and Cross had been clear. Second treatment would likely kill her. One chance. The monitor showed brain activity spiking. Cross described it as memory consolidation under duress. Technical language for trauma being forcibly remembered. Marcus pressed palm against glass, separated from his mate by barriers both literal and neurological. Cross's voice was quiet. Her neural activity is normalizing. The serum is binding to receptor sites where suppression compound attached. If this works, and that's still if she should start integrating recovered memories within 2 hours. They'll come as flashes initially, fragments, then fuller recollections as pathways strengthen. And if it doesn't work, then we've done everything medically possible. The call came at hour 47. Jackson's voice tight with urgency. We've got problem. Kane's people hit safe house where we kept Portland rescue wolves. 4 dead, 2 ours, 2 theirs. They took 3 prisoners. Left message. Marcus's jaw clenched. What message? Written in blood. Return my property or I start mailing pieces. Pieces. Kane had escalated to outright terrorism. How long ago? 20 minutes. They're moving fast, probably headed to Seattle. We've got comms suggesting they're fortifying main office. Assemble the team. Full combat loadout. We hit them tonight. Marcus, we're not ready. Half the pack's recovering. We're undermanned, undersupplied, attempting raid on building full of civilians. Jackson's objection cut off as Sarah's scream tore through medical bay. Not pain this time. Recognition. Horror. Sound of someone remembering everything they had been forced to forget. Marcus was through door before conscious thought registered. Sarah thrashed against restraints. Eyes open, but seeing beyond present moment. Her voice was raw words tumbling in fragments. Kyle. They took Kyle. I couldn't stop them. Elena, she poisoned him. Made me leave. Marcus, I tried. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He caught her hands, held them despite struggles, voice cutting through panic. Sarah, you're safe. Kyle is safe. He's here next room sleeping. You're remembering. That's good. But it's over. We found you. We found him. The people who did this are going to pay. Her eyes focused. Saw him. Really saw him for first time since rescue. Recognition flooding her face was worth every body he'd stacked getting here. Marcus, it's really you, I remember. The beach, our ceremony, Kyle being born, everything they took. I remember all of it. Then she was crying, not detached tears, but ugly body-racking sobs of someone who just had 6 years of agony become viscerally real. Marcus held her through it, murmuring reassurances that probably didn't help, but were all he could offer. Dr. Cross stood in the doorway documenting with clinical detachment. Treatment worked. Her memories are returning faster than projected. There may be gaps, inconsistencies, but core identity is intact. Marcus barely heard. Sarah's arms had come around his neck, gripped desperate, whispered words meant for him. Kill them. Everyone who did this. Kill them all. That was the plan. Seattle office occupied floors 18 through 22 of high-rise hosting tech companies, financial consultants, legitimate businesses making urban assault problematic. Ironwood Security Solutions maintained public operations generating enough revenue to avoid scrutiny. Real money came from below-ground levels where Kane's people processed wolves like cattle. Marcus studied blueprints costing 3 bribes and 1 dead city inspector. 4 entry points, 12 stairwells. Elevators that could become death traps or tactical advantages. Security linked to off-site monitoring, summoning police within 5 minutes of alarm. 5 minutes. That was operational window. Jackson laid out equipment, breaching charges, flashbangs, zip ties. Team had shrunk to 8 wolves. Everyone else injured, dead, or defending Northwood against counterstrike. 8 wolves against however many Kane had fortified. Ugly math. Marcus had seen worse and survived, but survival had involved luck he couldn't count on repeating. Beta Cole voiced what everyone thought. This is suicide mission. Even if we breach, extract prisoners, eliminate Kane, we're doing it downtown Seattle during business hours. Witnesses, security cameras, police response that won't care about pack politics. Good. Let Kane's people see what happens when you fuck with the wrong Alpha's family. Let council see some of us still have spines. Let humans understand they don't get to torture our kind without consequences. The words were defiance masquerading as strategy. Marcus knew it. His team knew it. They came anyway because loyalty meant following your Alpha even when destination was grave. They deployed at 1400 hours middle of workday when traffic peaked. Urban camouflage suits, Entai's laptops, and briefcases. Marcus wore visitor badge created using software that would have impressed NSA counterfeiters. Elevator to 18. Doors opened on reception screaming corporate respectability, tasteful art, leather furniture. Receptionist whose smile was trained automatic response. Marcus shot her with tranquilizer dart before she could finish greeting. Smile froze. Body slumped. He caught her before she hit desk lowered gently because she was civilian collateral, not combatant. His team spread through the floor, moving room to room. Ironwood employed 83 people on floors 18 and 19. Most were legitimate accountants, HR project managers thinking they worked for a real company. Those got tranquilizers and restraints. Ones reaching for weapons got worse. By the time alarms screamed, Marcus's team had cleared 2 floors and was descending towards sublevels where Kane kept operations he couldn't admit existed. Resistance intensified. Guards in tactical gear armed with weapons designed specifically for werewolves. Silver ammunition, wolfsbane grenades, UV floodlights making shifting painful. Marcus fought through with efficiency born from decades. Close quarters favored speed over strength. He moved through corridors like water, finding cracks, exploiting weaknesses, leaving bodies. Jackson covered his 6 shotgun, roaring each blast, removing threat before it became lethal. They'd done this dance Fallujah, Mosul, dozen other places where urban warfare turned buildings into kill boxes. Sublevel vault required shaped charges, steel doors designed to withstand anything short of military-grade explosives. Marcus planted them while Cole laid suppressing fire. Explosion was thunder contained by concrete. Inside were cells, 20 of them. Wolves in various states of broken. Marcus and team moved quickly, cutting chains, removing collars, herding prisoners towards stairwell. One prisoner didn't move. Couldn't. Male, maybe 45, showing torture beyond interrogation into sadism. His eyes were open, but empty, consciousness evacuated. Jackson checked pulse. Found it weak. Looked at Marcus with expression, asking questions about triage. Marcus made the call every combat leader dreaded. Leave him. We can't save everyone. Words tasted like ash, but tactical reality didn't care about feelings. They had 17 mobile prisoners in 3-minute window. Carrying catatonic wolf meant slower movement, increased risk, probable casualties. Mathematics written in blood. They moved. Behind them, wolf continued breathing abandon because mercy sometimes looked like cruelty. Stairwell became gauntlet. Kane's people had fortified every landing, turning vertical space into interlocking fields of fire. Marcus's team advanced through sheer aggression, trading shots at ranges where missing meant friendly fire. 3 floors up. 2, 1. They emerged on 20th floor to find Kane waiting. He wasn't what Marcus expected. Not bureaucratic, general sipping whiskey, not coward hiding behind deniability. Just older man in suit costing more than most cars, holding pistol, with casual competence of someone who'd killed before and would again. His voice was measured conversation. Marcus Thorne, the legendary Alpha. You cost me considerable resources. 12 facilities destroyed, 200 personnel dead, hundreds of millions reduced to insurance claims. I'm impressed. Marcus's gun came up, laser sight painting Kane's chest with red dot, promising violence. Save the speech. You tortured my family. Now you die. Kane smiled. Wasn't pleasant. Your family. Yes. Sarah was excellent, subject strong bloodline, high pain tolerance. Kyle showed similar potential, though his age made him fragile. They both contributed meaningfully to research saving human lives. You should be proud. Marcus's finger tightened on trigger. Jackson's hand on shoulder was only thing preventing immediate execution. Wait, we need him talking. Need confirmation for federal investigation. Fuck the investigation. But Marcus held fire because Jackson was right. Kane alive was evidence. Kane dead was just another body. Kane seemed to recognize hesitation. Smile wide. You won't kill me, not because you lack will, but because you need what I know. Other generals, network beyond what you've discovered. Project Fenrir is bigger than you imagine. I'm one of them. Remove me and someone else takes my place within a week. Then I'll kill them too. Ambitious goal. Let's discuss. Kane's hand moved. Not toward Marcus. Toward panel on wall that looked decorative but wasn't. His finger hit button before Marcus could process intent. Floor exploded. Not literally, but close. Charges. Kane had pre-positioned insurance against this scenario. Blast through everyone. Marcus's team. Kane's guards, prisoners into chaos, measured in screams and collapsing infrastructure. Marcus hit wall. Something in shoulder cracked. Didn't matter. He was moving before ringing stop, vision clearing enough to see Kane disappearing through door marked emergency exit. Chase became vertical, spiral staircase leading up. Kane was faster than age suggested, taking steps 2 at time, breathing, controlled. Marcus pursued, ignoring pain, focused entirely on target, who'd become symbol of everything wrong. They emerged on roof. Helicopter already spooling up rotors, creating wind, making standing difficult. Kane ran toward it, 20 yards from safety, putting him beyond Marcus's reach. Marcus shifted, didn't think, didn't plan, just let Wolf take over because Wolf was faster. Clothes shredded, bones rearranged into configurations evolution had perfected. 4 legs replaced 2, covered distance in seconds, feeling eternal. Launched himself in Kane's retreating form. Jaws closed around ankle. Bones snapped. Kane went down screaming. Helicopter pilot made calculation, rescue Kane, and get shot down or leave and survive. Survival 1. Helicopter lifted off, abandoning passenger. Marcus shifted back, stood over Kane with blood on mouth and murder in eyes. General looked up, fear replacing arrogance. Do it. Make me martyr. My organization will hunt your family forever. Marcus's hand closed around Kane's throat. One squeeze and this ended. Sarah's voice came from behind, unexpected, impossible. Don't. Marcus didn't turn, didn't release Kane, didn't do anything except hold position between violence and restraint. He deserves death. Sarah moved closer. Her hand found his shoulder. Yes, but you don't deserve what killing him will cost. Kyle needs father who comes home, not father who dies in prison. I need my husband, not martyr. Let humans handle him. Let system prove it can work. If it fails, we revisit this. But don't throw away our future for revenge that won't bring back past. Logic was sound. Emotion was real. Marcus's hand opened. Kane collapsed, gasping, ankle destroyed, surrounded by enemies with nowhere to run. Behind them, sirens announced police response. Helicopters circled news crews, capturing footage that would dominate networks for weeks. This moment was being documented, archived, turned into evidence that would either vindicate or condemn everyone involved. Marcus straightened, looked at Sarah, really looked, seeing woman who'd survived hell and come out still capable of mercy he couldn't find. Her smile was sad understanding. Let's go home. The federal investigation took 3 months. Special prosecutors, werewolf advocates, human rights organizations. General Victor Kane was indicted on 47 counts, including kidnapping, torture, conspiracy, operating unlicensed biological warfare program. His trial would take years. Sentence, if conviction came, would be life imprisonment in facility designed for supernatural criminals, not death. Justice Department had been clear: executing Kane would make him martyr. Letting him rot until old age or violence from other inmates claimed him was crueler, more fitting. Marcus accepted that outcome because Sarah was right. Kyle needed father present, not dead or imprisoned. But accepting wasn't forgiving. Rage hadn't disappeared. Had just been redirected, channeled into preparations for next fight, because men like Kane didn't operate. Elena Ashford's trial had been separate, quieter, the kind of proceeding not making headlines because her crimes were pack internal. Werewolf Council had stripped her status, declared her omega non grata, exiled from every recognized territory in North America. She'd been last seen boarding flight to Eastern Europe, where packs operated under different rules and grudges could be purchased for right price. Marcus had considered killing her. Would have been easy, would have been justified. But Sarah had asked him to let exile stand, arguing Elena's punishment was living with what she'd done, knowing she'd destroyed herself for a man who'd never loved her. Sometimes mercy looked like cruelty. Sometimes it was. DeCross's family had been extracted successfully. Jackson's team hitting Tacoma's safe house with same precision applied to dozen other raids. His wife and children had been relocated under federal witness protection. New identities, new lives in city where Kane's reach couldn't find them. Cross saw them monthly supervised visits Justice Department allowed because his testimony was too valuable to risk him becoming uncooperative. The man had aged decade in 3 months. Guilt did that. But he was rebuilding antidote protocol, training other researchers, ensuring if more wolves were found, memory suppression treatment options existed. Redemption through service. Marcus understood that motivation. Lieutenant Graves had been found 3 weeks after Seattle assault, attempting to board cargo ship bound for Singapore. Beta Cole's team had taken her without incident. She'd surrendered rather than fight. Calculating arrest was preferable to execution. She'd since cooperated with prosecutors, providing documentation connecting Kane's operation to international trafficking networks. Her testimony would pressure 3 remaining generals, forcing them deeper underground or into mistakes Marcus could exploit. The wolf they'd left behind in Seattle, catatonic prisoner Marcus's team couldn't carry, had been recovered by federal agents. He died in transit body, giving up before mind could recover. Marcus added him to list of casualties he'd failed to prevent. The list kept growing. The rescued wolves, 93 total by the time all facilities were raided, were recovering slowly. Some would never fully heal. Others had integrated back into pack life with resilience, suggesting strength Marcus hadn't anticipated. They'd formed coalition advocacy group pushing for federal regulations on supernatural experimentation using trauma as evidence. Current laws were insufficient. Sarah led that coalition, channeled anger into policy change testimony before congressional committees' media appearances, where she spoke with authority of someone who'd survived what others only theorized about. She was fierce, articulate, impossible to ignore. The Luna Marcus remembered but tempered by experience into something harder. Kyle was healing, spoke regularly now, though nightmares persisted. He'd started training with Marcus, learning combat skills appropriate for 7-year-old finding confidence and capability. Too young for lessons he'd learned, but childhood had ended in Montana cell, and pretending otherwise wouldn't restore innocence. Tonight, Marcus sat on Castle's highest balcony, watching forests stretch toward horizons where other threats were currently being born. Intel suggested 3 other generals had been involved in Project Fenrir. They'd gone underground, operations suspended but not ended, waiting for attention to shift, for our public outrage to fade for a moment when they could resume without scrutiny. Jackson joined him, 2 beers in hand, offering one without comment. They drank in silence, comfortable quiet, between brothers who'd seen too much together to need constant conversation. Eventually, Jackson's voice broke peace. "You think it's over?" Kane was visible because he got careless. Smart ones are still out there learning from his mistakes, building better security. This was round 1. There'll be others. And when they come, we'll be ready, have to be. This isn't just about my family anymore. Every pack and country is watching. If we roll over, except humans can torture us without consequence, we're finished as species. Heavy burden for one alpha. Which is why I'm not carrying it alone. Sarah's coalition, your tactical expertise. Wolves we rescued who refuse to be victims. We're building something that outlasts individual vengeance. Infrastructure protecting our kind going forward. Jackson nodded, accepting evolution from personal war to broader conflict. They finished beers watching stars that had witnessed countless wars and would witness countless more. Marcus's phone buzzed. Text from Sarah: "Kyle wants to say goodnight. Come soon." He stood, gave Jackson nod, communicating everything words would have fumbled, headed inside. Castle was quiet late enough most of Pack had retreated to private quarters. He walked halls feeling less like prison, now more like home, slowly being reclaimed. Kyle's room showed signs of recovery drawings on walls, toys scattered on floors, evidence of childhood reasserting against trauma. Boy was in bed, stuffed wolf clutched to chest, eyes heavy with sleep, but fighting to stay awake until father appeared. Marcus sat on bed's edge, letting Kyle curl against him with casual affection of someone who relearned touch didn't always mean pain. "Dad, will bad people come back?" Marcus could have lied, could have promised safety that wasn't guaranteed. Instead, he chose honesty because Kyle had earned truth. Maybe. Probably. But if they do, we'll be ready. And you'll be stronger, old enough to fight beside me instead of needing protection. Kyle considered that, nodded with seriousness beyond his years. "Good. I want to fight. Want to make sure no one else gets hurt like Mom and me." Sentiment was simultaneously heartwarming and heartbreaking. 7 years old and already thinking about protecting others, already understanding safety, was something you built through strength rather than wished into existence through optimism. Marcus kissed his son's forehead. "Sleep now. Tomorrow we train." Kyle's eyes closed. Within seconds, breathing had settled into rhythm of sleep, coming easier each night. Proof healing was possible, even if slow. Sarah was waiting in their shared quarters, looking through documentation from congressional hearings. She glanced up when Marcus entered, setting aside papers. He asked again. Every night, same question, same answer. He's trying to process, trying to understand his place in the world. Now that world has shown him how cruel it is. Marcus joined her, pulling Sarah against his chest, feeling her weight as confirmation that this family home purpose was worth whatever sacrifices had been required. Her voice was quiet against his shoulder. "Do you regret it? The people you killed, the lines you crossed, every day. But I'd do it again. That's what makes it bearable, knowing given same circumstances, I'd make same choices. Guilt means I'm still human. Willingness to repeat means I'm still Alpha. Sarah's arms tightened around him. They stayed like that, two people rebuilt from fragments, holding each other because letting go meant facing darkness alone. Outside, Forrest whispered secrets about threats, still developing about enemies, still plotting about next war waiting to begin. But tonight Marcus was home. His family was safe. Enemy who'd taken them was rotting in cell. Tomorrow would bring new battles, new enemies, new reasons to become monster humans feared. Tonight, he was just Marcus. Husband, father, wolf. And for now, that was enough.